Hi, I'm Professor Lystigo. You can call me Professor L or just Professor if you'd like. This is Humanities 1311, Mexican American Fine Arts Appreciation, and I'm going to go over a few of the key highlights from the syllabus. We'll start with the course is entirely online. We don't have any class meetings. You can meet with me during my office hours. Those are on Tuesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. and by appointment. So if you need to make an appointment, just send me an email. My email address is in the syllabus at this top part right here. So you can always email me. Please put the course information in the subject line so that I know it's somebody coming from one of my students and I can prioritize that email. And anytime you have questions, just send me an email. Please allow 24 hours for me to respond. Sometimes I'll respond more quickly, but I do need a 24-hour window just in case you send your email when I'm away from my desk. On weekends, I might need 48 hours. Often I take Saturdays off, and I encourage you to try to take a day off a week as you pace your schedule if that's possible for you. So please give me 48 hours on the weekend. If you don't hear from me after 24 hours on a weekday or 48 during the weekend, send me another email and make sure that you send a direct message to me through your ACC Gmail account using my email address. Sometimes students send emails using the Blackboard email tool or responding to a course announcement. I send course emails regularly, like 2 or 3 times a week, just to remind you of work that's due. And if you reply to those, sometimes they get lost. So if I don't reply to you, just make sure that you did follow those steps, send another email to me, and you can also post in the introduction forum in Blackboard if you're having trouble reaching me for some reason. I do have a phone number. It should be listed under the About Me section in Blackboard, but it's not a direct line, so I don't really know if I'm getting any phone calls to it. I try to check it once a week. It's not the best way to reach me, but if you sent me multiple emails and you're not reaching me, then calling the phone number could be a way to reach me. But I really encourage you to use email or pop into my office hours. I'm on Google Chat during office hours, and sometimes I'll open up the Collaborate room for office hours. And I'll show you more about Collaborate in a different video. The course description, this is an exploration kind of in brief, we're going to be looking at visual and performing arts such as music, painting, and drama, and dance, and literature, and the ways they express the values of the Mexican-American Chicano experience. We'll be learning a little bit more about what Chicano is right away, and we'll be looking at a variety of arts. So it's not just visual arts, but we're looking at theater. We're looking at some of the folk art and street art, performing arts, which covers theater, music. So it's going to be, I hope, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed teaching this class, and I hope you enjoyed taking it. For this class, you will need 2 books. I encourage you to order them right away if you haven't already. Even the second book. In the spring, we had some problems with mail delays because it's COVID-19 time, and that's slowing down some of the postal service and all of the infrastructure, really. So order the book now if you can, both of them, so that you have them when we switch. So the first part of the semester, we'll be using this book, Chicano Popular Culture. And I'm using a popular culture book. I explain it in the course, but what's called popular culture versus high culture, folk art, high art, popular art, those distinctions are made not always based on aesthetics, and aesthetics means what is beautiful, or the principles of design, what is aesthetically pleasing, but made on more political structures, and that's something that will be reviewed in this book. And this book covers the literature, the theater, some of the poetry, more of a variety of artwork. So we'll get a little bit of history, not too much, but enough to give us the context, and then look at some of the art, and some of it's a lot of fun. So I recommend this book. Well, this book is required, so I recommend that you buy it as soon as you can. You might want to know if the first edition is acceptable, and it is acceptable, but you might find some differences in the words in some of the fill-in-the-blank questions that are on the quizzes. So you might struggle a little bit, but you can try to use the first edition if that works better for you. The other book is Chicano Art for Our Millennium by Gary Keller, and that's going to be this book. It's wonderful. It's full of art. It doesn't have as much context and background as I'd like it to have, but it has a great, colorful representation of some of the art. And I believe it's a bit affordable compared to some of the other textbooks. So this is your second book that will be starting after midterm. And I do encourage you to get both of them as soon as you can. There's also a PBS documentary that is recommended that you buy, but you don't need to buy it. I have other videos that you can watch that are online for streaming, either through ACC's database or YouTube. So you have other options if you don't want to purchase the DVD. It's called Chicano Rock Sounds of East Los Angeles. It used to be available in ACC's library, but they stopped carrying it. They lost their license for it or something. So it's a great video, a great documentary about music, but it's not the only one. So I do recommend it. I also give you other options if you don't want to purchase it. This course is entirely online again. I do have meetings where you can come see me in my office, virtual office, which is really just Google Chat. So send me an email, and if you want to meet me more like this, I can meet you. I can set up a Zoom meeting so that you can see my face and we can talk like this. We can do that. Just let me know. But for the most part, I won't be on Zoom unless someone wants to talk with me and meet with me. Okay, the next page of the syllabus goes over objectives and learning outcomes, and I encourage you to look over that. They're just goals that we have for you when you take this course, which is part of the Mexican American Studies discipline offered by ACC. So there are a group of Mexican American Studies classes that you can take for the Mexican American Studies certificate. But it also stands for Fine Art Credit, and I think that it's a fun way to get that credit. So in this class, on page 2 of the syllabus, you have the grading system broken down for you. And so how your grade is determined, there are 600 total points, and then your grade is based on how many points you get. We have a variety of assignments, quizzes, forums, journals, a midterm exam, worksheets, group work, and the group work is where you give feedback to each other's projects. So we're not really doing any collaborative projects, but we're working in small groups to share feedback. Worksheets, the worksheets come in when you're looking at the visual arts. When we get to this book, we do worksheets where we work on different ways of approaching art: color, shape, texture, and kind of analyzing and interpreting the visual art. So those are the worksheets. And we have two presentations: an author presentation where you will present on one of the authors that we learn about in this book and share it with your group, and then your group will give you feedback. And then we have a final project where you'll create a virtual art gallery using the artist and images and some of the themes in this book. And that is this course. Mostly what you'll be doing are the quizzes and forums, class discussions with each other. That's where you get to talk to each other. It's all online. There are regular due dates. It's usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Sundays. You may always work ahead, so always you're able to submit your work early if that works for you. I might not grade it early, but you are allowed to submit it early. The quizzes are sometimes fill in the blank, sometimes multiple choice. They cover the reading. They're pretty standard. It's kind of a, did you do the reading or did you watch the video? So sometimes they go with a video I assign. So they're pretty straightforward, and they're designed kind of to limit error, limit room for interpretation so that you don't get it wrong because you thought it meant something else. So that to be pretty straightforward line by line. And they're also designed to kind of help you focus on what I believe are some of the key objectives or arguments or theses of whatever you're reading, whether it's one of the chapters from this book. There are a lot of chapter quizzes or a video that I've assigned. So that's what the quizzes are for. In the fill in the blanks, if you spell the word incorrectly, I will go back in after the due date, not before the due date, but after the due date, and I will manually give you the point. I don't count off for misspelled words, but Blackboard, when it auto grades, it does. So after the due date of every quiz that's got fill in the blank questions, I go back in and I go through all of them and make sure that you didn't lose a point for a misspelled word. So you don't need to worry about that. Once I've let everyone know that I've corrected the quiz, if I missed something or if you believe that I've missed something, please email me and let me know, hey, Professor L, you didn't give me the point for this, and I just, I put an accent mark in, and Blackboard doesn't like, I don't have the accent marks in, so if you include them, it'll count it wrong. I'll go back in and count it right, but I might miss it. And so please do let me know if I missed something, or if you believe that I've missed something after the due date, when I let you know that I've corrected quizzes. Forums are, again, it's where you guys discuss things with each other. They're a very exciting place. I do expect that you are kind and courteous to one another, respectful, and I haven't seen any problems with that in Mexican American Fine Arts. It seems to be a great place for you guys to get to know each other and explore the ideas that we're learning. I stay out of the discussions, I grade them and I look at them, but those are really where you guys can talk. If you feel like something needs to be flagged for my attention, if you think I need to come and look at something, do let me know. But I tend to kind of leave that as your space for talking to each other. In the forums, in the journals, those are only read by me. So when you're responding to a journal, you are giving information that only I'll read. And it does a couple of things. It helps me see where you are with being able to understand the material. So it helps me gauge your understanding and comprehension. And it also kind of gives you the space to process what you're learning, where I'll see it, and often be able to comment on your journals. I do not comment or give feedback on every assignment. The first few assignments I will give you feedback on, and then after that, to get feedback, it's either the feedback with me letting you know why I deducted points, or feedback because you did exceptional work and I need to let you know that your work was praiseworthy. So give me something exceptional, I'll give you feedback. If you ask questions in the comments, then I'll answer those if I can. Or if I take points off, I'll let you know why the points were off. But the first couple of assignments I do give you feedback on. Everyone gets feedback, so it takes a little longer to grade when I do that, but that way we can make sure that everyone knows how to look at their grades and look at my feedback. So you'll get an email from me when that comes up. When I talk about the course policies, academic integrity is expected. If you plagiarize, you will get a 0 or an F on your work, and then I have to report that to the Dean of Student Services, who right now is keeping a record, and repeat offenses could result in further academic discipline. So if you don't understand what plagiarism is or how to avoid it, I encourage you to take the academic honesty tutorial in the orientation section of Blackboard and understand how to avoid plagiarism. I think that a lot of times it's done unintentionally. People will put a parenthetical citation when they took stuff word for word. If you're copying and pasting, you might be in trouble. If you're taking things word for word from another source, make sure that you use quotation marks so that it's clear to me, to your reader, that what you are taking is from another source. So the parenthetical citations are also important, but the quotation marks tell me those are someone else's words, because when you cite a source with in-text citations, you're letting me know that it came from another source, but you might have written the words to paraphrase it. So that's my really quick, because that's not the goal of this, but that is to teach you how not to plagiarize. That's not my goal here, but that's your quick, in a nutshell. Use quotation marks when you're using other people's words. That's one really kind of the main way to avoid plagiarism. And use your own words. I want to know what you're thinking. So yeah, and again, another course policy is collegial communication is required. Just be nice to each other, be kind, be considerate. Even if you disagree with somebody, learn to disagree in a way that is collegial and respectful. If you violate this policy, you could be blocked from group discussion or class discussion. I've never had to do this before, and I hope I don't have to now, but those are the course policies. So there is some, a stopgap in place to prevent anyone, we want this to be a safe place to discuss our learning. If you communicate with me, the sooner you let me know about a problem, the better. I do my best to work with you whenever I can, so please just reach out to me as soon as you know there's a problem so that I can help you. The sooner the better. If you wait till the end of the semester to let me know something's going on, it's unfortunate, but I'm unlikely to be able to help you at that point if you've missed a whole, months of assignments. So please reach out to me as soon as you start sliding behind or encounter a problem that you're going to need my help with. Attendance, there is no attendance in this class. I will determine your attendance by the orientation quiz that is due this week. That's going to be the way that I certify that you've attended my class, and I determine your attendance by your participation in discussion boards, but there is no attendance grade in this class. I just expect that you show up for the regular due dates and contribute to discussion and do the assignments. So late work. My late work policy is a bit unique. I allow a limited amount of late work with no penalty to your grade. So you have 3 late work credits. That gives you 3 assignments that you can do late throughout the semester, and you'll have 7 days to do that assignment. After 7 days, that assignment is closed. You can't do it anymore. So once 7 days have passed the due date, the assignment is no longer an option. We're moving on. So get it in to me within the 7 days, and you got 3 of those, 3 that you can do. No questions asked, no points counted off. So, but once you've used your 3 points, you can't turn in anymore, or you've used your 3, they're called late work credits. So once you've used your 3 late work credits, you can't turn in any more late work. Once the assignment is more than 7 days past due, you may no longer submit that assignment. There are exceptions to the rules, and the policy does say, please email me before, so there's, a whole outline of how to do it. Email me before the assignment's due, let me know it's going to be late. But as long as you get it in within the 7-day due date, grace period, and let me know that it's in, it's not really required that you email me or ask my permission. You've got 3 late work credits, you've got 7 days within the due date to submit your late work. No questions asked, no penalty, but it is good practice to email me, so that I can help you make sure that you have not already exceeded your late work credits, and so you'll know, you've already used them up. But it is really up to you to track that, but I'm also tracking that. And second, so that I know that I need to get in there and grade it and not to give you a 0 for it. So letting me know so that I don't fill it in with 0 and I know to go back and grade it. So please do let me know, but just know that if you are not able to let me know before the due date, just letting me know within 7 days of the assignment's due date is sufficient. There is a special rule at the end of the semester. I can't give you 7 days. There will be a cutoff date, and it is usually the last Friday of the semester. And in this case, it would be the last Friday of class. So even if the assignment is due Thursday, you only get 1 day. And even if the assignment is due on the day after Friday, there's no late work after the last Friday of class. Makeup work is a different thing, and if you have an excused reason to submit your work late, please tell me that it's makeup work and not late work so that I don't use your late work credit toward it, and you can save that late work credit for something else. Because late work credits can be used for anything. You felt like going to a birthday party instead, although please be safe. We have COVID-19. You felt like watching TV and didn't want to do your work, so you put it off for a day. That is fine. Whatever. Reason you want to do your work late. I don't encourage you to practice that kind of decision making, but if that's the reason, that's fine. Makeup work is kind of it doesn't count towards your late work tally, but you must have a legitimate excuse. There are a list of legitimate excuses that the college ACC has in its policies, and they're listed in your syllabus, and they're pretty limited. Death of a parent, spouse, sibling, or child just before the due date, or an emergency room visit for self, parent, spouse, sibling, or child just before the due date. I also consider any kind of emergency situation with your pets to be a valid excuse. I may ask for documentation of these visits. I may require documentation of these visits in order to allow you to submit your work late without penalizing you. The 7-day grace period still applies even if it's makeup work. And I need to hear from you, preferably before the due date if you're doing makeup work, but as soon as possible, because if you are dealing with an emergency situation, you may not be able to reach out to me until after the due date. If the emergency is something that's made it impossible for you to get your work done within a 7-day grace period, I will work with you. I just need you to let me know what's going on. I've also added a 2020 kind of update that anything relating to COVID-19, whether it's that you know your work has you working more hours all of a sudden, and so you weren't able to plan out your week, got kind of your weekly routine got messed up because of that, or anything if you lose some income, have some housing issues, anything like that, or someone that you know has COVID-19 and your anxiety, anything like that that's going on, it counts toward an excused delay in submitting your work, and I will count it as makeup work. I just need you to reach out to me and let me know what's going on. So anything COVID-19 related. And while I'm talking about that, I'd like you to know that ACC does have funding from CARES. It's an acronym for something, but it is to cover any kinds of needs that students have relating to COVID-19. We also have an EARS program that just kind of covers all students, whether it's COVID-19 related or not. So there are systems in place to help you out too. Reach out to me if you need help finding those. Withdrawal, I don't tend to drop you, so if you're failing the class, you probably end up with your failing grade unless you drop the class. There is a 6-drop rule, and you should be familiar with that, and all of that is in the syllabus. Incomplete grades, I generally don't do those. I am an adjunct professor. That means that I'm hired part-time and contract, so semester by semester. And I believe that I'll be still employed at ACC in spring of 2021. And there's no reason to not believe it. I've been working at ACC for about 10 years now, maybe a little more than that. But there's no guarantee that I'll still be employed by ACC, so I tend to try to encourage us not to do incomplete, but I do work with students in certain situations. I have done incompletes before. You would need to have your work done by the next semester. We will cross that bridge when we get to it, but the information is in this syllabus, and I want you to know about it. There's also some information on scholastic dishonesty. We talked about that before as my course policy, but there's also an ACC policy that you should be aware of. These syllabuses are quite long, and you can say syllabuses or syllabi. Both are correct. You pick which one you like. All right, so the next page of the syllabus talks about your academic freedom. You have academic freedom. I don't count points off for you disagreeing with me or having a viewpoint that I don't subscribe to. As long as you can back it up with evidence, you're good to go. So you are free to explore. I mean, in college, we want you to be exploring other perspectives and open your mind to other ways of thinking. And you are not limited to what I say is, or what the book says. You know, maybe he got a few things wrong. Question it. I think that's great. And that's kind of what academic freedom is all about. You express yourself, whether you agree with what the course material or disagree with it. Student discipline. There's just a section on that just to be familiar with. Rights and responsibilities. I'm a member of the committee that protects your rights and responsibilities, and so we do want you to know that we have not only rights, but with rights come responsibilities, and that's in this section right here. If you have disabilities, learning disabilities, you need extra help or services or extra time on tests. These are things that you should go to the Student Accessibility Service Center, and I believe you can do all of this online now. And they will send the letters to your professors letting us know what accommodations we need to give to you. So make sure that you're aware of that. We have a safety statement. I notice a campus carry, which if you're not going to the campuses, is not something to be worried about, but something to be noticed about, or notified about. Use of ACC email. Please use your ACC email when communicating with me. It's always best to send me a direct message. There's a whole section in Blackboard in the About Me about how to send your emails to your professors most effectively. So you want to get not just my attention, but all of your professors' attentions. Send an original email from your ACC email account, and make sure that the class information and your question is in the subject line. And then again, in the body of the email, it's always polite to greet your professor and then ask the question and give as much information as you can. Include screenshots if it's relevant for troubleshooting or things like that. If you have problems, the problem resolution is like on the page before the syllabus before we get into the calendar. I ask that you talk to me. Hopefully we can work it out. I always try to help you and resolve your problems. If I make a mistake, let me know and I'll fix it. But if for whatever reason we are not able to come to an agreement, you can contact my supervisor. Or for some reason you can't reach me, if our email communication's broken, you can contact my supervisor. Here is his name and phone number, and he does have an office phone that'll ring, so he would be able to see that because he's not an adjunct. Adjuncts only get mailboxes. We don't really see when we get voicemail, and the phone never rings. And you can email him, and I recommend emailing him if you need to go over my head for whatever reason, or have trouble reaching me and want him to let me know. But please remember that I need 24 hours, Monday through Thursday, and Friday through Sunday, give me 48. So then there's some email communication. It's all about FERPA. Like I don't talk about your grades with you over email. I can't say you got an A or you've got a B. I will tell you, look in Blackboard, please look over the rubric, just to protect your privacy. So I don't tend to, I've had parents use their students' emails and try to get information about grades. You have access to Blackboard, you have access to your grades, they're all in Blackboard. We can discuss things and I can answer your questions, but I won't say what grade you got because of FERPA. That's just my practice. Then we have a new bill, it's called Senate Bill 212, and there's Title IX, and there are reporting requirements, and I want to tell you about those because it's important for what you tell me. If you tell me that you are, I'm just going to read this, because this is what I'm required by law, or I could lose my job, to report when an employee, so one of my colleagues, or a student reports any information concerning incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking committed by or against an ACC student or employee. So, and it doesn't matter if it happens at ACC or at your house or at a bar or where in a car or with a fox on a box, whatever it is. If the other person involved is not an AC student, I still have to report it. So if you tell me, I am required to report it, and then someone will contact you and they will try to help you. So the whole point of all of this is to help you, to provide you with the assistance to help you get out of a situation that's dangerous for you, and the support that you would need. And so I want you to know that any communication with me that involves these things, sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, stalking, that you're doing or that's happening to you, I have to report it. So keep that in mind when you're talking to me about what's going on in your life. If you need to talk to someone and you want it to be confidential, then we have a phone number in here for you to call, and it's right here, the District Clinical Counseling, and here's the number, and it's in your syllabus. So if you want to talk to someone, you just need an ear, and it's not going to be required to report you, you'll go call this resource. And it's not like I'm reporting you, but I'm not able to keep your conversation in confidence. I have to report it. Okay. Student and instructional services. There are a lot of services for you. With the campuses being closed, they might be a little bit more limited, but there is online tutoring that you can get, and there are a lot of online resources available to you. I believe the campuses are still providing buses with wireless internet connections for you, so if you're having internet problems, you can go to a campus and use their wireless. If you need any help with technical support, you can call tech support. All that information is in Blackboard, links to Blackboard tech support, and then there are links in your syllabus as well to help you get to the help that you might need. I do encourage you to use the library, use the reference librarians for help with your research, and to use the tutoring services if you struggle with grammar or math, if it's in another class. They are paid for by your fees, and the tutors are waiting to help you. They are happy to help you. So please do use those. I'll talk for a second about the course calendar, but that really covers the key points in the syllabus. It's not a comprehensive coverage of the syllabus. It's a quite lengthy document, and I need you to print it out or be aware that it is in Blackboard and have the entire thing on hand. We'll look at the course calendar. You'll see that there are due dates, that they're usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays and sometimes on Sundays. All work is due in Blackboard at 11:59 p.m. I am not a stickler on that, so if it's 1 in the morning and you get it in, I'm still not gonna count it late. Technically, it's due just before midnight, but at the end of the day, that's really when I want it in. So if you do your work at 2 a.m., I'm fine with that. But keep in mind that if you're doing work that is going to receive peer feedback in your groups, you want to pay attention to the 11:59 cutoff. Your group members are not required to reply to you if you submit late work, and I will ask that you submit your work in a late work group where other people who submit late work can talk to you, reply to you. So that's important. But again, don't panic if it's midnight or 1 in the morning and you're just getting your work in. I'm going to be good with that. After 3 in the morning, I might count it late. So I'll probably count it late. I will count it late after 4 in the morning for sure. So, okay. So get your work in by 3 in the morning, technically 11:59 p.m. But I had students submit work at 1 a.m. and they were panicking, and I'm just telling you now, don't panic, that's fine. Okay, so this week, Tuesday through Thursday, I'm asking that you look over the orientation material, and I need you to complete the orientation quiz by Thursday. The academic honesty quiz is also due on Thursday. It is not a graded assignment. It is, I think it's not a graded assignment. I should double check that, but I don't believe it is. It is something that I need to see that you've done, so that, and how do we find out which quizzes are graded? That's something I can show you in another video. But most of them are graded except for the academic honesty quiz. In the other video I can walk you through, but you can check when you open the assignment, you'll see how many points each one is worth. And when you look at this, at the grading breakdown on page 2, it tells you we have 5 quizzes for 10 points each. So, and then the journals are 20 points each, so that tells you forms are 20 points each. I need you to get the orientation quiz done by Thursday so that I can count you as attending or not attending when I certify course attendance for financial aid purposes. So please do get that in as soon as you can. Forum 1 is due on Sunday, so you have all week to get it in. It's just the introduction forum, but there is some introductory material to read and view before you complete Forum 1. So it's time to start getting familiar with Blackboard, orienting yourself with the course, and get to know your classmates a little bit and what this class is all about. Next week, starting on September 1st, you will need your textbook. So the introduction and chapter 1 are due next week along, and actually it says September 1st, which is Labor Day, so I'm gonna have to fix that. It's not due on Labor Day. This will all be due on Thursday. Forum 1, your responses. Quiz 1, I'm just gonna make a quick adjustment to your course calendar because I just caught that. Nothing is due on Labor Day. Have a fun Labor Day weekend. You have until Sunday to do your work. That is Labor Day weekend, and I encourage you to get the Forum 1 posted before Sunday so that you can enjoy that holiday weekend. So we won't have work due on Tuesday, but by next Thursday you'll need to read the introduction and chapter 1 of this book and do quiz 1, which covers chapter 1 by Thursday. Okay. So, like I said, this book is the first one we're using, and this book is the one that we'll be using after that. And I believe I've covered everything, but please do send me an email directly to me using your ACC Gmail account and let me know if you have any questions.